Hello and welcome back to Lorehammer. My name is Eric.
Hey, I'm Mark.
Joining us today is Rio.
Hello.
How you doing, bud?
Not too bad. Pretty good, actually.
Pretty good.
Feeling pretty good. Almost
Feeling
like
pretty
you're
good?
riding some type of thing, eh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm feeling all right.
The last episode you were on would have been a Tau episode.
Yeah, he's our resident Tau expert.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure.
Like Peter's our
Resident Elder expert.
Eldar.
Yeah.
Rio's our Tau. Do we have a Chaos guy?
Tim will be our resident.
Tim.
Yeah. I was talking to him last night when you left.
Yeah.
Because our next episode is going to be Heretic Astartes, and he's going to come on that one.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. That'd be
Very
a good
cool.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's going to be better than this one, I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
This one.
I mean, that makes
Wow.
sense.
This one's going to
It's
be
Tau.
just delightful.
It's Tau. What do you expect? Before we get started in this episode, we do need to thank our latest Patreon.
Samantha.
Nope, just Sam.
Oh, don't gender them.
I'm not. Their name is Sam. It's not Samantha.
Oh.
You're assuming. You're the one making assumptions. Come on, Mark. It's 2019. We don't do that here. Thank you, Sam, for your patronage.
Your measly $1.
I don't know what it was.
I don't know either. But if I was to guess, I would guess.
All I would ever ask from someone is $1. I feel weird if someone's like, here's $50 a month. I'm like, nah, we're not worth that.
You don't think so?
No.
You wouldn't be excited?
You get a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. It's like, wow, cool.
I made
for
$50,
Lorehammer.
but I also have a stalker. Great.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh, now I feel if this person ever shows up, I owe them, $50 worth of physical favors.
Right.
Physical favors specifically.
Which is what exactly? Like, I have $50 here.
What is that going to get him?
Yeah, what can I get for that?
We'll discuss that later.
$10 for just steady eye contact for 5
You're
minutes.
going to see next episode, you're going to be announcing my name as a $50 donor.
I'll fly you out to my house for a night of passion in Warhammer.
Right.
Playing Warhammer.
Yeah.
That's the only passion I know these days. It's
And you just
Warhammer.
moved in with your girlfriend?
Yeah. It's the only passion I know.
Very good.
It's the only enjoyment I get out of my miserable existence, as Jordan would say. Before we get started, I have a quote I would like to share with our fellow cast members.
Okay.
And it is this. Each must find their own way. If those in our heartland had witnessed the savageries of the void, as have we, they would know this. The hand of each of the starfarers is turned against the other. None will join their strength together just to see their ancient enemies prosper. Neither should we. It's pretty profound.
Who said that?
I have no idea.
Did you just make it up?
No. It's from, there's a website called Quora, which is literally just created for quotes.
Yeah.
So all it says is Tau. And then it just has a bunch of them. And I was like, yeah, that's conceivably by the Tau, right? Right? That's not... Another one that they give for the Tau is the first rule of unarmed combat is don't be unarmed.
That one sounds about right.
Yeah. Preacher Tau, right?
Melee Tau.
Melee Tau.
Gotta love them.
All right. But I mean, it kind of fits because today's episode is all about the Tau.
Yeah, today we're going to be covering the second sphere of expansion. Big things happen.
No, great big things.
Great big things.
Super
Galaxy
important
changing.
things. Super important things. Very... No, never mind. I can't even lie properly and say that. But before we actually dive into the second sphere, let's talk about where the Tau were at the end of the first sphere.
Yeah, so previously, the Tau Empire...
Previously in Tau airspace, fade from white to black.
Whoa.
Camera slowly pans as stars come into view.
Oh, okay,
and you see
stars.
the smallest empire ever to exist.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It only took them 1,400 years to colonize 6 star systems. And the Imperium did
Fastest expanding
the
race.
Imperium did the galaxy in 7.
Yes. So yes, like Eric said, their first sphere lasted 1,400 years, and they were able to create at least 6 seps.
At least 6 that we know of, the main ones.
Yeah. And then there are many like mining worlds or like mining colonies and whatever, but 6 main ones. Along the
That's
way,
right.
they encountered many Xeno species, creating allies such as the Kroot and enemies like the Orc.
That's right. Yes, the Orcoid, who just refused to join the greater good because they don't give a rat's ass. Do you think there's like individual orcs that would do it?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
You think so?
Why not?
Can they even comprehend like
Sure they can.
the greater good though?
Not on like a deep philosophical level, but like just like do the Kroot also get like the nuances of the greater good, or are they just mercenaries?
They're just birds.
Right. They're just
Bird people.
bird people.
What can they really comprehend?
Exactly. They're just like, give me that sweet DNA. Give me that sweet DNA.
I feel like you want to go sexual there, but
no, I don't.
There's no pun.
I wanted to
for
go
ya.
like, give me that sweet flesh, and I don't know. It's early. It was late night last night.
So the Tau spread out.
Yeah, over 1,400 years.
And the progress was stalled, though, due to resource allocation and the lack of FTL engines.
Yeah.
Like, they could only expand so far before they just became...
It's
Limited,
too... Yeah, the Empire would just become too fragmented because they aren't quick enough to go from one place to the other.
Yeah.
And we all know, when you're conquering the world, you need trains.
yes, you do.
You need supply trains. You're only as fast as your food and water.
You're only as fast as your slowest train.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Eric Soltek.
But I was the...
Michael Scott. So that is where they're sitting at the end of the first sphere. They were super excited. They were pushing out to the stars, creating colonies, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, shit. We can't go any further because it is unfeasible. So when and how then did this second sphere of expansion come about?
Well, let me tell you.
That was my segue.
Yeah, I know. I got that.
It worked really well until you waited a couple seconds.
It began in 018 M39, roughly 62 years after the first sphere.
Which is it's very quick.
Yeah. And the reason it came about is because they developed the ZFR Horizon Accelerator engine.
Wow, did this finally give them warp speed technology and the capability of traveling at the regular speed?
Salt, more salt, lay it on me. No, it gave them near light speed travel. Still
speed.
slow as shit.
So slow.
Like,
They're not even traveling at light speed.
so this gave the Tau near light speed travel. It was created by the Steppe Falcia, which is like known for their
Crazy technology.
It's planet
Experimental.
full of like Earth casts and research
Actually,
facilities and
that was the sept that we all played our RPG in.
yes, it was.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Mr. Monpraz from Mark's army.
So now 2 good things have come out of
Falcia. Is it a good thing, this?
Okay, 1 good thing.
Yeah, Monpraz.
Monpraz
This is the only thing to step out of Falcia in 3,000 years.
of any note. Who's made it somewhere in the galaxy?
Yeah.
So this allowed them to explore previously impossible space. Like,
And by previously possible,
we just mean a system over.
one more over.
And even that, it probably took them 10 years to get one system over.
No, it's way more than that.
Like,
So
I know we mentioned this a bunch. Like, how close is the nearest star system to Earth? It's like, I forget. Google that.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up.
closest star system.
But so it started 018 M39 and it ended around 700 M41. So It was roughly around 1600 to 1700 years, the second sphere.
Alpha Centauri A and Alpha Centauri B, so they're around 4.2 light years from Earth. So if you're traveling at light speed from Earth,
Yeah.
you'd get there in 4 years.
And
And
they got-
these guys
Wow.
can't travel at light speed.
Yeah. So it's just slow as
pathetic.
shit.
It's
Like,
pathetic.
How close are they to light speed?
It doesn't.
Doesn't
They're
say,
near
really?
light
Near
speed.
light speed. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't know.
Hmm.
But they can't travel at that speed. So, and the thing is, like, there's no guarantee that Alpha Centauri has planets, right?
yeah.
So you might even be your closest star might be like 3 years away, but there's nothing there. So you gotta go to the next.
Yeah, like
one.
every planet, there's a dead world or something. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that the star you're going to, has planets.
Oof.
It's pathetic.
It's fucked.
Okay. So just go ahead, Mark.
I was just going to say, so it's fucked.
Yeah. But did we say when it ended
Yeah, I did.
and how long it lasted?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Check.
Oh, I was typing, I think, at that
So the
point.
Supreme Ethereal Ennui inspired the Tau race, along with their allies, mainly the Kroot, to claim new worlds for the greater good.
Yeah, so he was the leader of the Tau at the beginning of the second sphere of expansion, and it was him who declared, a time of prosperity for all Tau,
Yeah.
because this was going to bring in so many cool new things to the Empire.
As much as we're joking, like, about how slow it is, like, just imagine if we just right now had light speed travel. Because before the Tau were colonizing space with, like, conventional fuel engines. So,
Like what we have.
Yeah, where it's like, there's no way we can get to the next solar system unless we do, like, colony ships. So it actually
No,
is.
it would take 4.2 light years, which would be so long for us.
Yeah, exactly. So as much as we joke, like, it would be such an exciting thing. Like, that would, like, make the whole Tau race, like, holy like, it would be
Yes.
a crazy thing to be able to now go somewhere. But it's still pretty shitty. But at the head of the new expansion, the Fire Caste commander Puretide would lead the Tau to many great victories.
Ah, yes.
Because as they reach more planets, they realize the galaxy is a dark and dangerous place.
And we need to bring the light of the greater good to it.
Through pulse rifle
And ion.
and marker lights.
Yeah.
We did it. We named all
And
three.
pathfinders.
well, okay. But
and cannons.
oh god, here we go.
Between the spheres, did they develop their weapons technology at all, or was it pretty
Yes.
much the same?
I would imagine, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they use the so the T series was the first
was that
battle
the
suit.
Y?
No,
Oh, that was the next.
no.
Yeah,
it
Y.
went T and then V.
Oh, T. Oh, yes. V
So
is
in the
Y,
first expansion, they used battle suits that used conventional fuel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like pouring gasoline in your mech.
yeah,
And I'm assuming, oh no, they had pulse tech at that
yeah,
point.
they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, after they fought the orcs for the first time, they
Yeah.
developed some weapons. Because
But-
like Tau, for the longest time, like they didn't need weapons because the whole race was unified. So there was no need to create weapons until they encountered the orcs, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And then they created.
We need to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the next one they developed had fission reactors, but the radiation killed all the pilots. This is still really dangerous. But yeah, that was what they used in the second sphere.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, like, that's a pretty... Now you know what happened in the second sphere.
Yeah.
Onway set everyone off, and then Puretide was the leader of the Fire Caste.
Yeah.
So what are some of the races that they encountered?
We actually are going to get to that.
Okay.
Yeah. If you would read your notes.
I didn't get a copy.
You did. I
She
should.
wanted a printed one, handwritten,
Damn it. You know what?
handwritten, then photocopy and printed.
Sure. And then like annotated on the side as well. So like little things that say, hey, Rio, say this right here.
We don't have any dick jokes yet. You got to make one now.
No.
Mhm.
You don't have to. Only if you feel like it's right.
It's always right for a dick joke.
Wow.
So let's talk about the Conquer World, because they were able to conquer many worlds.
Well, at least 7
At least seven.
that we know of. So, and you got to remember because these are new seps.
Yeah.
And it's not only like a single planet, but each of these is a system.
Yeah.
So there's like Tau Prime, in the Tau Sept, and then there's going to be a bunch of little planets around them,
Yeah.
little mining colonies within that
Moons.
star system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the very first. And another thing about all these is we don't have any dates of when these individual septs were planned. So we're not saying them in any particular order other than random.
Not even
It's not even alphabetical.
Perfect.
Pathetic.
So the first one, Tal. This was a beautiful and verdant world due to the serenity offered by the Shangri-La.
Ah, yes.
By
This beautiful paradise, this Shangri-La. There's a episode of Community where Pierce, they're doing the UN.
Yeah.
And Pierce is representing Somalia, of all places. He's like, the great country of Somalia, this Shangri-La. And that's all I can think of when this beautiful planet, this Shangri-La.
So this planet quickly became a retirement world for Tau heroes, specifically the Fire Caste. Because it's just a beautiful place, and like they want to honor their heroes, so they sent them there.
So it's the Florida of the
That's right, of the
Yeah.
Tau
the Tau Empire.
without the alligators.
Right.
Yeah, and so it's kind of funny. All like the Tau from Tau, like the ones actually from the Sept, all they do is like take care of these people.
Yeah.
So
It's a very relaxed environment, so
Yeah.
lots of other Tau steps see them as like lazy people.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Yeah.
so they're like, "What do you do?" Like, we just
Yeah.
clean up spit from old
Yeah.
soldiers' mouths.
Yeah.
Because they're too messed up. They can't do it themselves.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
No,
it doesn't
there's
actually
worse
sound that
things.
bad. Yeah.
No, for sure. All right.
The Greater Good is a great place for sure to be a part of the Tau Empire
Well, if you're Tau.
or anyone else.
No.
We got some examples.
Tell that
of
to
how
the Poctrine.
I have.
You can't. They're dead. The Tau killed them.
God, not this again. The next one. The step color of Tau is bright green.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the next one is Andros. After being colonized, this planet was voluntarily abandoned by the majority of its inhabitants.
Why?
Left on the planet, we don't know why.
Oh.
Actually, the only ones who do know why are the Ethereals. And of course, in true communist fashion, they're not talking. So,
They're not.
oppression through miseducation and yeah. So left on the planet are a small contingent of Earth caste scientists who constantly report strange readings emanating from the planet. And then there's a strong presence of fire caste warriors. It's very for their protection. So, and yeah.
That actually sounds kind of cool, though.
Yeah, it's like everyone went there, they populated it, and then all of a sudden they're like, no, we actually don't like this place. We're leaving.
Got ghosts.
Yeah, it's haunted.
Place is haunted.
You just need to, the energy is all wrong. That's what they said. They're like, it's really messing with
Yeah.
my energies.
Their sept color is black.
Yes.
All right, the next one they did is Kel-Shan. Kel-Shan has been raided many times by Xenos due to its proximity to the Paradis Rift. I think it's like a warp anomaly where maybe not a warp anomaly, but it's some type of space anomaly that allows for people to hide and pirates to hide in and stuff. And because of that, there's lots of Xenos raiders and stuff that come out of this and raid this Tau step. So they are the Tau on the planet do not like Xenos very much and are often openly hostile towards any Xenos, including ones in the Tau Empire.
Yeah, they even to members of the Tau Empire.
Yeah.
They're very hostile.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess understandable, but it's not good.
Nope. Xenophobic.
That's right. Nobody likes a xenophobe.
It doesn't say what kind of Xenos.
Any Xenos.
Any.
Oh, you mean
no.
the ones that raid?
Yes. I
think it was Eldar and Orcs, or was that another step?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, no,
that might be a
that's-
different one.
That it's both.
Yeah.
Like the Perdis Rift is commonly known for Eldar pirates.
Yeah.
That's pretty common around there. And then Orc is always going to be a problem for the Tau.
Yeah.
Anytime they can slip in a little orcs, they're gonna slip it in because it's their natural enemy.
Gonna slip a little orc in there.
Yeah, yeah. Why not?
Perfect. Their sept color is yellow.
That's right. The next one we have is LC Ear. LC Ear.
Elsewhere.
Yeah, it honestly makes me think of Elsewhere, where Khajiit is from. Khajiit has coin. Khajiit has wares if you have coin.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah. So Elsevier is actually an extremely densely populated planet. And Elsevier Prime, so the actual like main planet on the system, is one of the foremost manufacturers in the Tau Empire.
Yeah. Eventually they end up
Producing the majority of riptides.
yeah.
So riptides don't exist yet.
No. But eventually they do.
But eventually they do. And one of the reasons why it's such like a good manufacturer is that there are lots of like moons, not only on Prime, just in the system, and they're just mined for very valuable ores. So it just you instead of
Resource
transporting
right
the
there,
ore,
yeah.
instead
Makes
of
sense,
transporting
yeah.
them halfway across the Tau Empire, which would take 60 years,
My God.
they just use them there. And their sept color is purple.
Purple.
Yeah.
All right, next one we got the Tashvar. Tashvar is on the fringe of Tau. My thing, it jumped on me. Okay. On the fringe of Tau Empire and has been raided many times by orcs and pirates. Because of this, the Fire Warriors are known as the best breachers in the Empire. Tashvar, their main export is their precious gems, which are coveted by every other Xenos race. So, I don't know. I wonder what those gems are.
They have special properties or something.
Maybe.
They're shiny. I'm assuming. Or they're gonna balance your energies. You put them in your water and then you drink it. You feel relaxed and revitalized.
Their step color is deep red, and why that's important is if like you ever want to do a tabletop army from that, they have like the little markings, so that's you'd paint them that color and then
Yeah, it's like
Great.
brown. It's like a brown red.
yeah, and now you're from Tashvar.
And you can say I have the best breachers in the galaxy.
Next to the Monfrost.
There we go. I was waiting for that.
So, next to that.
Yeah. The next one we're going to talk about is Vashya. So Vashya is known as the world between spheres because it took a very long time for Earth caste machines to actually make the air breathable on the planet. So it wasn't inhabited until like either very late in the second sphere or even not in the second sphere. Yeah. The air caste on this planet are a highly respected in this sept, and a good portion of pilots and crew just in the Tau Empire actually come from this sept. So it just goes to show they have big training facilities, and their air caste members are very, I didn't want to say it out loud on the podcast.
Like that.
Yeah.
Their sept color is gray. All class with the Tau.
Gray is just a boring color.
Yeah. Especially to paint an army, you might as well just leave it unpainted.
No, the interesting thing about Tau Sept is that your armor, you can do whatever color you want.
Right.
Any color. And then
Right,
there's just
right.
tiny little markings on it you would do in these Sept colors. So, but gray is just boring.
No.
Like, how come nobody is like electric blue?
For sept color?
Yeah.
There's some like teals and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I guess the next one we talk about.
yeah. Eventually, too, they start running out of colors. So
yeah.
electric blue
Will be one.
in 20,000 years when they reach the next system over.
Yeah.
They run out of colors. So
Maybe they can't see blue on their light spectrum.
they're blue skins.
So they can't see it. They just look gray skinned.
That's why life is so bleak for them. Poor little space commies, eh?
Yeah.
Next up, we got the Tolku. Tolku has many grand temples devoted to ethereals. They also have a large proportion of alien institutes where they bring alien ambassadors to be enlightened.
Or indoctrinated.
Or
Educated. Or re-educated, if you know what I mean.
That's kind of a cool planet.
Yeah. It's like devoted to the ethereals.
Yeah, and by that, it's more to the greater good.
What do you mean?
It's not like people worship ethereals. They follow the greater good.
Right. Sure. Yeah, it would kind of be a monument to the greater good.
Yeah.
Yes. I bet there's like museums and everything documenting their history in the Montao.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can see like the cool I mean, it's all propaganda. It's all fake. Well, it's not fake. It's spun, as is all media. Goddamn.
How dare you? We can trust the
mainstream media.
We can trust them. They put their due diligence in. If they get something wrong, they correct it every time.
I literally can't look at you right now.
It's not a good sight over here. Okay, so their color is teal. Okay, so that's all the seps. So
those are like the main
14
things.
to 1600 years, and they got
7 systems.
Way to go, Tao. You did it.
As well as like other mining colonies and stuff.
Right.
It's pretty pathetic.
Yeah, and none of them are like particularly like awesome either.
No, and like what we read too is
and
like
it's just on the eastern fringe. It's not like they pushed out super far. They were just like, hey, this is the next star system over. Let's go get that one.
Yeah, and what we read to you like literally is all the information you can find on these planets. Like, so it's not like we're like just picking key timbits. Like that's what we know. Yeah. So they did encounter some new Xenos along the way, made some new friends, made some more enemies. There are numerous races that associate with the Tau Empire that have like no contact or assimilation date.
Yeah, so I think there's like 4 or something where we actually don't know when first contact was made.
Yeah, like they'd be even more than that. Like we don't know when they first contacted the Eldar. It would have been actually in this sept.
Why?
Because they didn't encounter it in the first one, but this one they definitely encountered.
Sure,
Eldar.
pirates.
Yeah, so Eldar, they encountered Eldar.
Sure.
Safe to say. But like there's races like the
yeah,
because
so what, they had never heard of the Eldar? Well, no, I don't know.
Hearing and encountering is different.
Was it just Dark Elder though? They encountered?
Probably like it implies through pirates, but there are what are called like Eldar Corsairs, where croissants, Eldar croissants,
Eldar croissants.
Where
that's correct.
Yeah, they're not Dark Eldar, but they still are pirates.
Yeah.
But like another example of like we could assume this is when they do it, but there's no actual date, is like the Demiurge. And the reason why we think this is because the Kroot, who are assimilated already at this point, introduced the Demiurge to the Tau. So you'd assume that eventually they would have done it.
Over the course of
14 to 16,000 years, they would have. Hey, you want to meet my best friend?
Yeah, and one of the reasons like we assume that they were introduced at this time as well is that the Demiurge gave the Tau ion technology.
Yeah, which started popping up at this page.
Yeah, because the hammerheads were used quite frequently in the second sphere of expansion.
Yeah.
And you put big ion cannons on hammerheads.
Yeah.
So, but again, we don't know.
Yeah.
We just assume.
There's a bunch of Xenos races. Like, obviously, we can't go through all 157 that we've gone through
Let's
at
do
one
it.
point. Let's do it. This episode has to have some content.
Railroaded.
But one of the major ones we do know about is the Vespid.
Yeah. Which is actually a pretty cool race.
It is, actually.
They're large bugs.
Yeah, the Vespid means wasp. And,
means flying insect.
no, in like...
in Tau.
No, in like our language. Vespid is wasp. Not in English, but in like some type of human language that humans speak.
It actually is an English word.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You dumb bitch.
Any
Don't
wasp,
you know English, Eric?
Don't you know English?
Everybody knows Vespid means wasp.
Oh. It's any wasp of the family Vespidae, including yellow jackets and hornets. Games Workshop is lazy. Not as lazy as us, thank goodness.
No, this episode is fine.
They are lazy.
So yeah, like they're wasp, humanoid wasp type creatures. This initially this race was adamantly opposed to joining the greater good, and most believed it was because their very different way of thinking. Another thought that it was just impossible to communicate between the two races, because Vespid
not only that, but apparently they're like, the way they communicate is just very complicated. So part of it is like their mouth just was unable to form the right sounds, but also like when they would communicate, it was just different how they
like
how they
lots of insect communication is based off of like pheromones and stuff
Chemicals.
too. So like if you can't even sense those, how do you communicate? But so they didn't think there's any hope for them to
so they were
ever
even
join.
they even fought the Tau and the Vespid. They had conflict.
But eventually there was a special meeting between some Tau ethereals and the Vespid leaders.
Probably behind locked doors.
And the benevolent ethereals gifted a great gift to the Vespid, a communication helmet.
The biggest trap the Vespid ever took. It was such a Trojan horse.
Wow, you're putting a lot of malice intent on this when really they just want to be able to talk.
Sorry, you know what? I'll let you finish.
Yeah, it's just like a Bluetooth, you know?
Yeah.
Just like a Bluetooth.
So the plan went off perfectly. Like, now that we can communicate, we can.
So they gave them headsets.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can express our ideas to you properly, and the Vespid instantly joined the greater good.
Immediately.
Well, a good idea is a good idea. They just couldn't understand the good idea.
Yeah, that's the problem. That was the issue. It wasn't them resisting the wiles of the ethereal and water caste.
So lots of people think like, it's a mind control device. But then I always just think, why do they not just use this on every race they encounter then? That's like...
Yeah, that's like a decent thing.
Yeah, like if they have this ability to literally put on a headset onto anything, you would see it way more than just one race. I'm going to say that the greater good is good, Eric. It's a good thing.
Okay.
I bought the propaganda book. I know the 7 tenets that I need to follow.
It's fine. You're allowed to have the sheep wool pulled over your sheep eyes.
You know what I like about the Vespid, though, is it actually makes sense that there would be communication barriers between different, races of, species and stuff like that.
Yeah, like even just like mindsets alone, like what are the chances that if we counted aliens, they would have a similar mindset, similar desires as us?
They have like the same feeling towards food that we do.
Yeah.
Like to us, like food is like important and we like to enjoy it. But
and
to
we
other
use it,
creatures,
to, like commune with other friends.
yeah, and
stuff,
like have like good time. But what's the point? What's the chances that another alien race would also be like, oh, food is really important to me too?
Yeah.
Right? Or music.
Right.
Or you'd get like Kroot and Tau. Kroot are like, oh, food's really important to us.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, so who are you eating?
Yeah. Just your best friend. Don't worry. I'm doing an honor to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Tau are like, no.
But I feel like even if we encountered another species at some point, they probably wouldn't even use verbal communication.
It's possible. Like,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, because like if they have the technology to like get here, chances are good they have like mind-to-mind links or something, like technologically. Maybe they even have like something else. Pheromones.
Then they'll put helmets on us so that we can understand what they're saying.
Communicate with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite things in 40K is actually the Interrex.
Sure.
Which is it's a race of humanoid that split off from humanity around like the Dark Age.
Yeah.
And then they progressed on their own, but they developed like physiologically beyond humanity, and they communicated through music and like bars of like music like that is like a way cooler way of communication. Like you hear like specific notes and tones, and like you get the message across by that.
That is really cool.
It was very cool. And then Horus destroyed all of them.
Womp, 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 womp.
It was sad times for the Interrex.
Every damn time the Imperium goes anywhere.
Yeah, it's never fun for anyone. Yeah. He was talking with them to get them to join the Imperium.
Yeah.
Even though Abaddon didn't want them.
Yeah.
And then eventually shit went down. You know. And the Interrex were destroyed. But it was really cool.
Thank you for that.
Well, one of my favorite things, so the planet Murder, you know, where the Iraq.
So this is an Imperium episode now.
No, it's not. I just really there's one line, but I need to set it up for you. So the planet Murder had these like bugs on it that the Space Marines actually were getting their asses handed to them.
Yeah.
By these bugs. And eventually like they got off the planet and the Interrex come in, and the Interrex had actually set all these bugs on the planet, and we're like, no, this is just their planet, because we didn't want to kill them all, right? But we also don't want to contact them, so we put them there, and then we set satellites around the planet, just constantly giving off this music, and they were actually warnings, like, stay away from this planet, don't go on this.
Death metal.
Yeah, well, no, but it's just one of my favorite lines is like, didn't you hear and like listen to our warnings?
Yeah.
But to them, all it was is like strange tones, and it was just cool. Like, that's like a miscommunication that would have saved so many lives.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Very cool.
Yeah. So speaking of humans, this is also the first time Tau encountered humans in this sphere of expansion. And what allowed this to happen was
on the eastern fringe of the Tau Empire.
On the eastern fringe of the Tau Empire. It actually would be the western fringe.
Nope, eastern. Damocles is on the eastern fringe.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, so they went the opposite way of what I thought. It changes everything.
Does it? Does it? So instead of going a micro to the left, they go a micro to the right?
Yeah, because that means they're going to the outside of the galaxy as opposed to directly into the heart of Imperial space. Changes.
I mean, kind of. All of the galaxy is the heart of Imperial space, because they're in the Ultima.
The galaxy is humans' birthright. They own it.
It's our divine right. Even though there's no gods to give us a divine right.
So it was some type of another space anomaly that Tau couldn't cross, but then they developed fast and light travel, or some other technology. It might not even be fast and light travel, but they were able to then cross this rift, and on the other side was human inhabited worlds, and they must have just been small minor worlds, nothing really too important, because the Tau were actually able to push into human space and take over quite a few planets.
Did they take them over violently, or did the humans...
I'd say they don't have a percentage, but definitely, some probably are just like, we'll join you. Like,
well, not only that, but they also made a lot of just trade agreements.
Yeah.
So even though you aren't joining the greater good as a planet, you're still being like, of course we'll trade with you. We'll give you our stuff if you pay us your precious gems from that one planet.
But also, having said that, there was violent interactions where they did conquer planets. Because I'm sure they go to each planet. It's not like we've met humans now. The humans said no. I'm sure they go to each planet like, hey, do you want to join the greater good?
Right.
So they first time they contacted them, they took some through words, some through violence, and that's kind of their first contact with the Imperium. They were able to take a handful of worlds across this rift. Next up, we have is the Necron. And we're not actually sure if they encountered the Necron, but
they definitely encountered the Necron.
They definitely did. So one of the Tau steps encountered many silver mechanical robots on a crystal-rich asteroid belt that faded from existence when slain.
I wonder what those are.
So most likely they also encountered the Necron at this point too.
Huh.
Yeah.
Without, of course, they no, they don't truly know what they are, right? They're just like, it's
they never had a chance to talk to them.
Well, they don't talk. Necron don't talk. They just kill.
Sometimes.
So why would the Necron though be on an asteroid belt?
I have no idea.
No, so like
Necron stuff.
When the Necron went to sleep, they built a bunch of tomb worlds, and like Necrons still need resources and stuff.
Well, yeah,
because they had their own empire where
they had mining worlds and outpost worlds and everything.
Yeah. And on our last episode, we did Necron world or Necron tombs, and we went over like the different classifications of like you have crown worlds, and you have core worlds, and you have fringe worlds. So these would have been like a fringe world where it's like mining or farming.
It's an outpost.
Yeah. I see.
So
yeah, they encountered all of like 10 Necron, and they're like, oh my god, they're so crazy. I'm glad there's only 10. Joke's on you.
Yeah. So that's kind of who we know they encountered. I'm sure they encountered other ones, but
the galaxy is huge, and they span such a huge area.
My god, the salt.
I'm sorry.
So let's talk about the specific heroes of the Tau Empire.
Yes.
And we'll talk about Ennui first. He was the leader of the second sphere expansion.
Yeah. It was all thanks to him.
All thanks to him.
And his brilliant leadership of the Tau Empire as the supreme ethereal.
And this is fucking where Tau start to get incredibly dumb.
Yeah.
Like, whoever writes for Tau, they don't know stuff. They don't try to check stuff out. So we know Tau are specifically short-lived, like
compared to humans. And let's say humans live for 200 years.
We did find one example of Pure Tide, actually, who is the commander of the second sphere, and he died of old age at around 80 years old. So, and it specifically says he died of old age.
Yeah, he was wounded in battle, and then he went and retired and was like writing philosophy on this mountain, and tactics and philosophy, and then he died of old age.
Yeah. So like 80 is probably the cap of the
and
Tau.
he's also probably like he's a fit dude.
Yeah, he would have been fit. He would have had
healthy.
the best medical treatment possible because he was literally the greatest hero of the Tau Empire ever. Yeah, and he died at 80. So here's where the problem is. We start looking at numbers. So we know the second sphere of expansion lasts 14 to 1600 years, and Ennui somehow was the leader of this the whole time.
Yeah.
Same with Commander Pierce's side, even though they would have only been there for 80 years. And Ethereals, I think, live a little longer, so let's say let's say 100 years.
Let's say you double it, though. 160 years.
Exactly.
Not 1600.
It's one of these things where it's like, there's this weird misconception with Tau where it's like, oh, they're the fastest expanding race, and they've been on the scene for such a short amount of time. It's like, no.
Not anymore. Maybe during fifth or third edition.
Third edition when they came out.
Yeah.
Maybe then, like that stereotype.
But not anymore.
But now it's like Tau have been on the scene for like 6,000 years almost. Like, and what, they've conquered 20 planets, and the timelines don't make sense. So Ennui, he should be dead. He shouldn't be here.
He should have died almost immediately after the second sphere started.
Yeah,
he announces.
But before anyone got to the next planet over, because it would have taken 5 years to get to the next system.
Yeah,
so it's incredibly stupid. And then what they end up doing is
so there's Ennui.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the other supreme leaders in charge, they also say that Anva was around during the second sphere
and directly took over from Ennui.
Yeah, he preceded Ennui. So, and then you take a look at Shadow Sun and Farsight.
Can we talk about Anva a little bit?
Sure.
Anva is around
currently.
Kinda. He died pretty recently.
Don't tell them that, Mark. No one's allowed to know about that.
But he was around in the
M42.
M42. So there's some numbers here that do not make sense.
And this is currently we're talking about M39. So 3,000 years for a Tau.
Yeah. And it's just like, what? Did no one check these numbers before they wrote this? Like,
could it maybe one of those cases where just their successors take up their names after they die?
It could be, but that's not what it is.
And there's nothing that implies in Tau society that kind of stuff happens.
Because your name is very personal.
Yeah, exactly. And you only get your name after you've done something of note. So,
But hey, it's the Ethereals. Who knows? So Anva takes over directly from Ennui, and then he's around for 3,000 years before he croaks.
So that's fun.
But he's Tau, and he only lives 150 years at the most.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pure Tide he's undoubtedly the greatest military mind that the Tau Empire ever produced. Okay, so under his command, he greatly expanded the empire, and many septs were formed.
Yeah.
But he also he perfected the Tau military tactics.
Yeah. And it's just so stupid.
So he had two students.
We know Pure Tide, though, he died 80 years. And he retired. So he didn't die in combat. He retired. So he probably retired, I don't know, let's say 60. And then he probably didn't start fighting till maybe, let's say 20, if it's anything like humans.
Right. Yeah, he's not fighting as a small child. So that means his greatest military exploits are happening in a span of, 40 years?
Let's say.
And
it takes 4 years to get to a planet. And yet somehow he conquered all these worlds when it takes 4 years to get to another planet.
So the greatest military mind lasted probably for 40 years, even though the expansion lasted for 1,700 years.
It's fucked.
And then the next commander, Shadow Sun.
Yeah. And Farsight.
They didn't even, they existed during the second sphere of expansion because they were Pure Tide's students.
Yeah.
And then Anva, who is then taken over for the decrepit Anwei, is like, nah, no, you can't exist in this time.
No.
We're going to freeze you.
Put you in stasis.
So then you come back later.
Yeah. So they bring back Farsight during the third sphere of expansion.
Yeah, and then they bring back Shadow Sun during the fourth.
Yeah, and then Shadow Sun is still around in the sixth. In current time, she is still in the lore. So this is where it really gets stupid, and they
just keep freezing. It's like how in RPGs you hand of God things, right? Yeah. They're just like whoever's writing with the tower, like shit. All right, break out this break out the stasis, I guess.
Yeah, and what it does, it creates so many stupid little holes. Like the first one, if they had stasis technology, conquering the galaxy now is a lot easier.
Yeah, it's how the Necron Tur did it.
Yeah,
and they expanded through the entire galaxy.
Yeah, because now like they don't say this anywhere, but like Tau had to make colony ships to go places, right? Because if it takes you 5 years to get anywhere, but if you have stasis, that's not a big deal now. If you don't have to worry about
time doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly, but they don't say that anywhere. Like they don't.
Yeah, they don't say like, oh, like we use like stasis on our colony ships in order to protect like our population. They literally just say, oh, it takes many generations.
Exactly. So
that's crazy.
It's stupid. It's
poor writing.
Yeah. And then if you add up the math, so the Shadow Sun, she's been in 3 spheres of expansion now.
But these spheres of expansions are lasting
hundreds of years, if not thousands, some of them. So do they freeze her, wake her up right for the battle, freeze her,
and then freeze her immediately?
Because like you would have to.
Yeah,
it's the only because your body just can't last that long.
Yeah. Because like if you even just going a system over, like you can't waste 4 years of an 80-year lifespan.
Yeah, flying through space.
You just can't do it. So I really hate it. I think the Tau, they're written so poorly because of this. The problem with 40K is lots of people think it's a
problem.
There's many problems,
but the only problem with 40K.
No, a big problem with 40K is people think that it is a story. It is not a story. It is a setting. You can have stories in the setting, but it is not supposed to be an advancing storyline. Yet Games Workshop has taken the trend of trying to make it an advancing storyline. The problem is they also refuse to kill off characters, because if you kill off a character, you can't sell their model anymore.
Sure, or all the people who have it can no longer use it.
Yeah, or they feel butthurt about it.
If all of a sudden they kill off Calgar, all these guys who have been using Calgar for the past 20 years are like, what? He's like the master. You could leave it in the current state and have no advancement to the story, or you can accept reality and assume that Calgar would have died at this point.
So that's one of the big problems, is it's a setting. It always has been a setting. They shouldn't advance it. When you advance it, you run into stuff like this where the problem is, like Shadow Sun, originally when she came out in the 4th sphere expansion. There was no such thing as stasis. She wasn't even like Pure Tide's direct student, I don't think. I think she just read Pure Tide's teachings or something like that.
Which is how it should have been.
Yeah, so they advance it. Now you have to keep this character around. You got to come up with janky ways to keep him around. And it just takes away from it. Tower my favorite, but when I read stuff like this, it's stupid. Like it just doesn't make any logical sense. Like the fastest expanding. We've done 2 episodes now on the Tau expansion, and we've talked about 20 planets, and these 2 are by far my most hated episodes we've ever done.
So the crazy thing is, the 1st and 2nd sphere, you combine that's 3,000 years.
Fastest expanding, most dynamic.
Yeah, fastest growing. Like it's not true at all.
Yeah, and then even when you look at their technology, like they start getting like their current technology in the 3rd sphere of expansion, which is still a few thousand years away from the current timeline. So this dynamic race that is innovating technology is still using 2,000-year-old Battletech suit technology. Sure, they might have the odd software upgrade, but
it's not represented anywhere.
No. And it just...
It's not like all of a sudden like, oh wow, like they conquered 40 worlds now in under like a month.
Yeah,
like that's not happening. No. Whereas in the Imperium, that's happening.
Oh yeah, and I get it. Like every time they release a new Tau Codex, they can't release an all new updated model line of sleeker looking models and new weapons. Like
sure,
I get it, but at the same time, don't advance the storyline then.
Yeah,
like because you. For a neckbeard such as myself, with nothing else to do with my life, Yeah, so that's kind of the problem. We came up with some better ways that they could write Tau, and what I think they should do with Tau to try to make them more believable, more interesting, and less like just bad writing.
Yeah, less just like hand of godded.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the big thing is, we've said this multiple times, they got to become a galactic player. You got to give them a warp drive or some type of equivalent, and they got to be able to spread across the galaxy. Because as of right now, we're still just talking about the Tau Empire, and they have 50 worlds in their empire. Big deal. Who cares? Minor Xenos, they should not even be an army.
No.
And it's unfortunate. Like, there are many other races that deserve a spotlight way before the Tau would ever get one.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, so that's unfortunate. But a couple better ways they could have got around, like, this whole aging problem of, like, wanting to have the same characters brought back to life over and over again. The first one.
Yeah, so it's like brain chips.
Yeah.
So they have this thing called the Pure Tide engram chip or whatever, and it's like
or something.
Yeah, it's like in tabletop it's a relic, but what it is right before Pure Tide died, who was like the greatest military mind, they scanned his brain and they took all his memories and put it in this chip.
Yeah.
And then you, as like a commander, or a general, you get this chip surgically implanted in your brain, and then you have access to the greatest military mind that's ever existed in the Tau.
Yeah.
Who perfected Tau tactics, really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, like, that is something, it's like a real thing. So we know
that exists.
Yes, it exists. So we know that Tau have the ability to, like, download someone's brain, just like we do.
Yeah. And then not only, yeah, absolutely. I download my brain all the time.
No, is it Elon Musk who just did it?
Oh,
downloaded a mouse's brain?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, James and I were talking about it, and then Chris is like, "No, they didn't download. They made a copy." And James is like, "What do you think happens when you download things? Like, do you think it steals the original file from whoever had it?"
Yeah, that mouse is now dead.
Yeah,
Sucked its
exactly. And then Chris, who was like leaning on the table, he thought about it. He just walked away.
yes. That dumb bitch.
So we know that Tau can create digital copies of people.
Yeah.
And
they've done this multiple times.
Yes. There's this thing called like the Sword of Pure Tide, which was like a more dangerous version of this, where it was actually kind of cool. You would get this implanted and you would lose your previous memories.
Oh.
And so now you only have access to what Pure Tide was. Yeah. So it's kind of cool. And then they would remove these chips from them, and then they would become just a drooling mess. Yeah. They just, because they had no existence now beyond it.
Another example is Farsight in his enclaves. He has, I believe he was an Earth cast member that downloaded his brain into a battlesuit program, and now he pilots the battlesuit. Something like that.
Oh, very cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like an AI robot,
I
essentially.
mean, well, technically, Farsight was also Pure Tide's student.
Yeah.
So he actually had direct access to Pure Tide.
Yeah.
Pure Tide. Anyways,
so we know it's
with
possible.
A chip, we know they can do this.
Yeah.
But imagine if you took this chip and then you literally became the commander. Not just access to the memories, but you took their mannerisms, you took their characteristics, you took like their
preferred flavors.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you literally become
their manner. Everything about that person it gets downloaded into you, and like you no longer exist as a person because you've been taken over by a computer program.
And this would have been a far better way than trying to put them in stasis. Yet now they're brought back and they're in all these different war zones across the galaxy. Yet across the Tau Empire, but how do they even get from one battle zone to the other?
Yeah.
Like, it takes time. Yeah. Time the Tau do not have.
But it'd be so cool if you technically had like 4 Shadow Suns running around. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So
So
we were thinking, so Shadow Sun, you download their brain. But now you have their brain on this chip, but this chip can only react and only like get like a good sync rate with like a Tau with a very similar brain wavelength of the original Shadow
Science, of course.
Right, yeah. This is all sci-fi. So like it's kind of cool to imagine like the Ethereals going to these Tau at like a certain date, and it's kind of like a coming of age process where they like scan all these Tau and they're looking for Tau with a specific brain wavelength. Yeah. And then when they find it, they're saying, okay, you need to give up who you are as an individual for the greater good.
Something the Tau would happily do.
Oh, right. Yeah, for sure.
And it totally fits like the whole self-sacrifice. Yeah. Like, yes, I would gladly like give up who I am. And so then they do this surgery, and when you wake up, you are Shadow Sun, or you are Pure Tide. And that would be a way cooler way than just saying that, oh, Shadow Sun is in stasis again. Like, no, instead, Shadow Sun is a parasite that is sucking off. Well, it like that, it fits the setting way better.
Fits the setting, it fits Tau lore, like...
Yeah, because we know they have this technology. Yeah. They just need to tweak it a little bit in the story to make it where it's not just you have access to memories, but you'd like download the person into this.
Since and they refuse to kill off these characters.
Yeah, but it allows this character to live again and again and again.
Yeah, because I get it. Number one, selling models. That's their primary goal. So I get why they keep characters alive. But so yeah, I really like that way of doing it. That's probably the number one way. The next way is like Farsight. He has a sword that is rumored to steal the soul of the things it kills, and then it feeds Farsight's souls, keeping him alive forever. So Farsight,
as long as he keeps fighting, and
so objects like that, like warp magic, is a great way to rationalize anything.
Yeah,
you know?
And it's the thing is, like, you can't argue against it.
Yeah. And that's why when I'm doing this rants, I keep bringing up Shadow Sun and not Farsight, because Farsight's still alive in M42, but he's got this life-eating sword.
Yeah. But he never once went in stasis.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, he did.
He went in stasis,
one time.
Yeah, exactly.
From
for
the
1,000 years.
From second to third.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, that's an awesome way to do it. Because really, they're only trying to keep a couple key characters alive. So I'm sure you could come up with a couple ways to keep these with like magical relics, or maybe they come up with like this super like AI nanobot rejuvenation. But it's like
instead they just use dumb stasis.
Yeah. So the other thing we're thinking of is a more controlled stasis, where
it would be a lot cooler if instead of stasis being accessible so readily, if they were like, this is a brand new technology, it's untested, untried. Like, it would be okay. So imagine if in the second sphere of expansion you had Pure Tide, and he had like a group of students, had like 30 students or something.
Yeah,
and they're like, Pure Tide's gonna die, but we need his teachings to survive, so we're gonna stasis all of these students, like let's say all 30
thousands
of them. Thousands of them. We're gonna stasis all of them, and we're just gonna wake them up, and then when that one dies, we're gonna wake the next one up, and then when that one dies, but then, like, let's say an error happens and they all die except for like one, and so now there's like 2,000 years later, there's like a single hero of the Imperium, or of the Empire, brought back, right, from stasis. And I think it would be so much cooler if it was like a one-off thing.
Yeah.
And and now they never do stasis again.
Yeah.
Because it was way too unreliable and way too dangerous. But you have now brought like something from the past into the future.
Yeah, exactly. But just the ability to just constantly put them in a stasis, take them out, put them in, take them out, put them in.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
It just ruins it.
Yeah.
It's no longer. Yeah. There's no danger.
Yeah. So those are the three ideas. If you guys have any ideas of how you could implement kind of a workaround having these huge time gaps, let us know.
Massive time
gaps. But to me, I think the best one is just that chip idea.
I agree.
So cool.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. You literally then become that hero, and you could have multiple ones. So
yeah, I think it's really cool.
And even for expanding their empire.
Yeah.
Like being able to replicate the greatest minds you have.
Yeah.
I mean, that would advance your race.
And the sacrifice aspect of it fits in with Tau so well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's just no way, man. Shadowside's on one end of the empire. On the other end, it gets invaded. Now she has to travel 30 years to get to the other side of the empire.
So yeah, they're putting her in stasis for that. But by the time she gets there, the war is over.
It's over. Exactly. Yeah. It just... Yeah. Games Workshop really needs to know what they're trying to do with the Tau Empire, and they just... I don't know why. I don't know why they refuse to give them some type of faster-than-life travel. It's brutal.
It's a little odd.
It's brutal. Yeah. We came up to like when the Great Rift expanded that like a bunch of colony ships should have got lost and flung out across the galaxy. And that's what I did with my Tau RPG, because that would make it so you could have multiple mini empires all across the galaxy. And while they might not be in contact with the home empire, you still have Tau across the galaxy, and that's what you need.
Right. Yeah. And the thing about Tau is it should be okay if you are abandoned by the empire, because it's about the greater good.
Yeah.
Right. Your empire means nothing beyond like if you didn't have the greater good, you wouldn't have your empire.
Yeah.
So
the physical locations don't.
It doesn't matter. Yes. What matters is that you adhere to the ideal of what the greater good is.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Let's talk about the end of the second sphere, though. What happened? What caused it to end?
Yeah. So the Tau had just begun to breach the void of the Damocles Gulf, and this is like that weird area of space that they just couldn't cross.
Yeah.
So with their new engine, their ZFR Horizon Accelerator, they start to breach it, and and at that point, they begin to learn what the Imperium of man is. So before they had like reached planets that I was reading, they were mostly abandoned by the human Imperium.
Sure.
And they were mainly just like fringe worlds that were like under surveillance by the Imperium, but they had no real
didn't come into contact with any like chapter home world or anything.
Well,
like
no,
that.
not even like in a guard city. Yeah. So it was all just like fringe worlds of humanity, and so the Inquisition started to learn about it, and then they start to send actual Imperium might over, and then that's when the second sphere ends, is when Tau really start learning what the Imperium is.
Yeah. And so in our next Tau episode, which won't be we'll do our cycle
6
again.
months or something.
Yeah. We'll talk about this pushback of the Imperium, and which is called the Damocles Crusade. So we'll end up talking about that. There's actually a lot of cool battles like that. It's actually a campaign where you can follow the flow of combat, and like, both sides are Tau are increasing their technology level to try to fight the foes of the Imperium, and
the Imperium is sending reinforcements.
Yeah.
So there's a period of time between the second and third expansion, which is broken up by the Damocles Gulf Crusade and Hive
Fleet Gorgon. Yeah.
So in that time period, that's going to be our next.
Yeah. Which both are pretty cool events.
Yes.
So that's the episode. We got a listener question here from Chris, and he sent this 2 weeks ago or something, and it's the perfect time to answer it right now.
Yeah.
So I'll read it out. Okay, still listening at work. Just got onto the Life of Tau episode, and I have a question for all you guys. I'm not looking for an answer now, but I'd like to hear your opinion sometime in the future on the cast. So being that the Tau are newcomers to the galaxy, and due to the lack of FTL travel, they couldn't possibly have explored much of the galaxy beyond their current empire. Do you fellas think that they could have gone to war with the Imperium do you think they would have gone to war with the Imperium if they were aware of its scope? I mean, if you look at the scale of both empires, the Tau obviously just wrote a check their collective asses cannot cash. Would they have made the same choice if they had known just how vast and powerful the Imperium is? They seem too smart to start such a hopeless war.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it really is. So I got an answer right away. So here's what I think. I think the Tau did know about the Imperium. So the Tau have encountered many alien races, including such races as the Kroot, which for some reason the Kroot are a galaxy player. They're all across the galaxy. You can find them everywhere. There's Kroot mercenaries that even work for like rogue traders and humanity. So Kroot are well aware of what the Imperium is. They have a bunch of Xenos races. You would think that they would have told, like, the Kroot were in this war with the Tau, so you'd think the Kroot would have had some input. So I think that the Tau Empire was aware of what the Imperium was. But what comes with that awareness is, that the Imperium's a crippling empire, and you might be able to take a world here or there without retaliation, because if you got in your backyard, you got an anthill and 40 wasp nests. The Tau Empire is the anthill. You're not really going to deal with it. You're going to deal with those fucking wasp nests. Like,
You're going to deal with Terra, the Eldar.
All those big ones.
Chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Before you deal with this Antil. So I think the Tau were aware, and they're like, we can take a couple planets, we can set up a stronghold on this other side of the rift, and if we need to fall back, we can fall back across the rift and be safe. Like, if they do come and retaliate.
But that idea of we can fall back and be safe is naive.
It might be, or
it is.
Maybe?
Because as soon as the Imperium decides that this Antil is to be crushed, there's no protection for the Tau
Absolutely.
Empire.
But
and that's what we're saying is, like, because how do the Tau did the Tau get together and say, like, oh, we're not a threat to the Imperium, so they won't attack us? Do you think that's what was running through their mind?
I think it was more just, if, like, we got to keep in mind that the Tau second sphere of expansion happened over 14,000 years, and if over
1400 1600,
yeah, they took 5 Imperial worlds.
We don't know. We don't know.
But is that really anything that the Imperium's going to concern themselves with?
So here's the thing. Like, I don't think the Tau truly understood the scope.
Yeah, that's possible.
It's
wrong, but it's possible.
I don't know if the Kroot truly understand the scope of the Imperium either. So the only really smart ones in the Kroot are the Shapers. Right? Everyone else listens to the Shapers, and the Shaper tells you what to do and where to go.
I think you're misreading that, but okay.
Well, okay, so that's my understanding of the Kroot, is that the Shaper leads the tribe, and then when the tribe even meets others, like, a single Shaper steps up and leads it all, right? But no, like, individual Kroot is, like, a genius. Like,
they can be very smart. They can be
like, at the direction of the Shaper.
Sure, but
right, the Shaper is the one telling you what to eat, and you listen to the Shaper.
Yes, right? But like, there's still.
But you're not making decisions on your own.
It could. You can go off on your own, start your own kindred.
Sure,
that's what happens.
Sure, but okay, and like, sure, so you start your own kindred, but it's still a very small scale.
Sure,
the Kroot don't own any loyalty to their race as an entire species. Yeah. Right? It's all about themselves or their little kindred.
Yeah, they're family units for sure.
So if a Kroot like that looks at the Imperium and they see a single planet, and they're like, oh, like, that's one kindred. So they're like, oh, you got a single kindred. And then you have another kindred over there, right? Do they understand that humanity actually has billions of kindred that actually aren't a kindred and are actually a single solid unit?
Yeah, like,
and that's what I'm understanding. Like, that's my thing. Is I don't think the Kroot would look at the human Imperium and come to the same conclusion that the Eldar would.
Yeah,
or the what's another race? I'm just kidding. No, but like that. Yeah, it's not that the Kroot didn't know they were everywhere.
It's just they have a different mindset.
Exactly.
I see what you're saying.
I don't think they fully understood.
Yeah, they can't comprehend the scope of it.
Yeah, that's not what they do. They look at and they see everything on a very micro level. It's much smaller.
Sure.
So when they go to the Tau, they're like, oh yeah, they have like one planet, or like, that's a kindred, and there's one over there, and there's 2 over there.
Yeah.
But they don't know that all these planets actually are connected.
Yeah.
And that the humans can actually get there really fast.
So my next example would be the Tau have many alien races in their employ, and a couple of them, it specifically says in like their entry, like, they hate the Imperium with like a fiery passion or whatever because of what the Imperium did to them.
Sure.
So those races very much would know what the Imperium is. Like, if, like, it's quite likely that the Imperium wiped out half their race. So they would probably tell them, like...
But again, like, so did these people think that it was a single chapter, and like, do they know that there's millions of Space Marines, or do they think there's a single chapter that came and wiped out
like, obviously they don't know the full extent of every little detail of soldiers and stuff.
I think that's the question. Like, if you truly understood the power the Imperium can really bring to bear, would you ever fight them?
They can't, though. They can't bring anything to bear because they're scattered across 1,000 war zones. Like I said, if you have that anthill, you're not worried about it until all those bees' nests. But every time you destroy one bee's nest, 18 more show up. And you're still just an anthill. You're just, in 14 to 1,600 years, you're taking one planet here, another one here. No big deal.
Here's what I think. I think, like, I think you're probably right that they have been informed by their Xeno species. They have,
to some degree.
Yeah, to some degree. But they probably can't fully understand the full scope of the Imperium.
Yeah.
But I think being guided by their philosophy as the greater good, maybe they understand, like, where the where the Imperium has, gone wrong and killed off all these other Xeno species. So according to their philosophy, it could be for the greater good for them to expand into the Imperium to liberate.
The scope it doesn't matter to them.
Yes, exactly. So
I guess when you believe so much in an ideology, it doesn't matter the opposition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're willing to be martyrs for their philosophy, for their ideology, right?
Yeah.
So it would make sense to a degree for them to, expand into kind of the precarious, situation.
Yeah.
And in order to expand, their philosophy and maybe, liberate some worlds on the fringe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be just a calculus,
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be like, hey, we do understand, we do know, we just don't care because this is something that has to be done.
Yeah. Exactly. We can't leave them not in the greater good.
Yeah.
We have to deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
that's a way more depressing way to look at it.
40K.
Yeah.
No, that's a good question though. Any other thoughts on it?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone truly understands the scope of
even
the Imperium
yeah,
doesn't understand its own scope.
Yeah. That's that. Tell us what your guys' thoughts are on some of these things. Like, I know this episode didn't have a lot of interesting information, but there are some interesting topics that I think the community needs to talk about to help the Tau out. Because the way they're sitting right now, I don't think any Tau player can truly be happy with it. Like,
I like it. I like that it triggers you.
And no other player cares about the Tau Empire because it's a minor Xenos races with 40 planets. Like, they just don't fit.
It's in the Ultima Segmentum.
Yeah.
It's in like the Ultramar controlled space.
Yeah.
If the armies of Ultramar were ever like, no, like, we're dealing with this now.
Time's up.
Yeah.
Tau, time's up, exactly. Tau would disappear.
Exactly.
And that's the saddest thing.
Yeah.
Is because, like, the craft worlds, like, they just escape. You cannot actually kill all the craft worlds.
Yeah.
The Necron, you can't kill all the Tomb worlds, right?
Yeah.
Orcs, you can't. So that's what's nice about those races, is they actually have, like, a very well thought out survival technique, technically.
There's even, like, stories of, like, orc wogs where it's like they took over 50 worlds.
In a single war.
There goes the Tau Empire.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
One
poorly placed wog, and they're
one poorly placed wog.
Yeah.
So I think it's something we all need to what are we going to do, obviously?
Write letters to Mr. and Mrs. Games Workshop.
Yeah, dear Mr. and Mrs. Games Workshop.
If you could please write better Tau, that would be appreciated.
So tell us your thoughts on that. I'd be curious to see how you guys think that they could make Tau
great again. Oh, sorry, that's Eldar.
Oh yeah,
forget. We're gonna need you to come up with a slogan for the Tau.
For when you
because Peter took make Eldar great again.
Yeah.
Peter's running to like become the leader of the Eldar. So when you run for leader to take over from Mount Va, like, what's your slogan in your campaign? That's all we're gonna need you to. Just a little homework for you.
Yeah.
For the next time you come on here in 3 months.
Sounds good. I think I can only handle once every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're a lot.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Just imagine being us. we're planning the episode last night. It's like, God, I hate this. Why do we do a podcast? Like, this is the worst. Every time.
That's not great.
We always just get so derailed on just like the internet's there, so you can
exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's the internet. It's all of the information in the world at your fingertips.
Yeah.
How can you focus on a single web page when you have access to that?
Yeah,
it's tough.
We did it. How long was that?
This is 73 minutes. I don't know
Perfect.
I don't know what that means in hours.
Hour and 13.
Yeah, but okay, good point.
Math.
Good point. Well, I was thinking, like, is that like 1.1 1.606 hours. You know,
I wasn't man personally.
Well, exactly.
Not
That
a
is a
decimals
fraction.
man.
Well, fractions and decimals are the same thing, but that, like I was thinking that as opposed to like an hour and 13
Right,
minutes.
right.
So in my brain it was like, I don't know what that is off the top of my
My
head.
God. My God.
Actually, it would be 1.25.
Can't read a book, but I can read a clock.
It'd be 1.25 hours because 15 minutes is a quarter
Yes.
of an
No,
hour.
but a quarter of an hour is. Oh, you're right.
Cool.
We did it.
Yeah.
Rio, thanks for joining us. I
Yeah,
know this
Thanks
was
for having
real.
me back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
We
fine.
did it.
You have to be on more.
Yeah.
We'll get you
we'll-
on a good one.
We'll
next
get you on
time.
one with James and we'll all just drink.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds good.
The last time James was here, he was
I
drinking. And he
always
said he had a good
appreciate
time.
the invite. I mean, despite my complete lack of knowledge regarding the
I don't care.
yeah.
I do like your point about the ideology.
The idols.
The
The idolatry.
Like, no, it makes sense. Like they have to do it. Like they believe so much in the greater good, they have to do it. So no, you always. That's the one thing. Like when we try to get guests on, though, I was like, I don't know much. It's like just come.
But there's
hang
always
out.
good questions you can ask. That's
Exactly.
what I find. Like,
Exactly.
as you guys are talking about it, I'm thinking about it and
Yeah.
thinking about questions, that come up. So, yeah.
All we ask is that you pay attention and you don't fall asleep.
Cool. We did it.
We did it, guys.
What do
See
we
you
say
later.
to end an episode?
Goodbye.
Okay.
Sayonara. That's for all the Japanese fans of the Tao.
Konnichiwa.
No, that's hello.
Goodbye.